Hey folks, and welcome to another part of our fantastic series around building high quality companies and venture studios with Nobody Studios. I'm the host, Barry O'Reilly, Chief Innovator and co-founder of Nobody Studios. And today we've got a fantastic show. One area that we're constantly getting questions on is how do I build great data rooms that are going to impress my investors from day one and help them understand the excellent levels, the competencies, and the skill that we have not only as company builders, but also the ability to do great governance in the companies that we're building. So when it comes to deal time, that can go through fast and speed and get to great outcomes that everybody's looking for. A great diligence process that's simple, that's effective, and gives everybody what they need. So today we've got two fantastic guests to really come and speak in this topic, both from Fidelity, and we're very, very delighted to welcome Lynn Zagami and Charlie Stevens from Fidelity. How are you both doing?
Good, thank you.
Doing
Nice
great.
to be here.
Thank you.
Listen, so look, it's great to have you both here. Obviously, Charlie wins with the background of the day with this amazing yacht. He's not on a boat, folks. He's actually at a conference and looks after VC and the ecosystems at Fidelity. And then Lynn is the Vice President for Customer Success in the private market. So two experts to give us great examples about what building a great data room is about. So Lynn, tell us, first question on everybody's lips, I'm sure, is like, why are data rooms so important for fundraising?
So this is a great place to start. When a venture capital firm and a company come together and they're having discussions about what the company is doing and how exciting it is, and the VC sort of starts to get stars in their eyes about where this company could go, they're not going to be willing to write a check and sign on with them for the next 5 to 7 years if they can't be sure that that investment is going to be there as little risk as possible, right? These are still startups, they are still very risky, but they want to make sure there are no skeletons in the closet, that whatever terms they agree to by way of the deal documents, those are aligned with the actual risk associated with investing in this company. So that means they're going to want to understand a 360-degree view of what this company has done, what it's built, who is building it, and any additional kind of quirks that they may have. So they're going to look at employee information. They're going to look at the cap table and who owns every piece of the company. They're going to look at intellectual property. They're going to look at other sort of operational agreements and things like that. And that's where the data room comes in, because that's where all that information gets housed.
Yeah, so one of the things certainly that strikes me when I first meet startups, or even when we're working with them in the studio, is like, when is the right time to start even building a data room? When's the right time to be starting thinking about like pulling the information that you need together that's going to help you be successful? One times you'll often meet the founders and they've got a pitch deck and they've got a story and maybe even a tap dance routine to go with it. Who knows? But like starting to think about like when does it become important to start building this, and even thinking about the way you should be structuring it ahead of these sort of diligence processes that people get into?
So the real answer is it's never too early. Companies start accumulating information that is going to be asked for in diligence the day that they incorporate, right? You have these foundational documents like your certificate of incorporation that says we have this many authorized shares, they bear these rights and privileges, etc. You appoint your board of directors, you appoint your company officers. All of these things are going to be important pieces of information that come out in diligence. So really, really wise companies start organizing this from day one. For companies that may have some things in Google Drive and some things in their email as attachments and some things, I don't know, maybe printed out and sitting on a desk somewhere in their co-working space, God forbid, just now, right? If you are starting to think about going out for a fundraise where you are going to be sitting across the table from professional investors who will expect to see this information, just get going. There are lots of really good resources out there about what you're going to be asked for. And the good news there is that every firm is going to ask for the same things. They may organize it a little bit differently, present that request list in a slightly different way. Same information across the board. So if you can kind of deploy your team your experts, whoever is handling HR things. Obviously, as an early stage startup, you're not going to have a head of HR. Who handles that stuff, right? Put that person in charge of gathering employee information. Equity, same thing, and start to build that as soon as you can. There will be less cleanup and less catch up to do when, a term sheet is being drafted, which is not when you want to be handling that kind of hygiene.
Yeah, for sure. I've been there. I still remember the first. Yeah, go ahead. There's Charlie.
I was going to say, to add on to that, I mean, I think the right answer is yesterday in a way, right? Like, obviously day one, right? But if you want to move fast in that fundraising process, you have to have a nice, thoroughly clean, well-organized data room so that they can look into this, and you don't want to be scrambling. That would be the worst thing possible, because you obviously want to move fast with the deal, give all the proper documents that are there. But I think the unique thing that Fidelity's data room has is it is pre-organized. It is set up for diligence. It was literally built for that. So it's when thinking about this process in your data room, you really need to start thinking about, is it easier for me to go into a Dropbox and pre-organize a data room that I've never done before? Or maybe look at Fidelity that has a pre-organized data room and a support team that's going to help you put every document in line, so that when you have those conversations with investors, they're obviously going to be looking at you as the founder. Do you have, are you the person to build this? Is this the market and the team? But also, where are those documents located? Do I have easy access? Are the permissions there? So you need to think about all these steps through the diligence process today.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I still remember the first time I had to pull a data room together, and I was definitely the example that you don't want to be of any sort of founder, and as a builder, you're always, there's so many things to do, right? You're selling, you're marketing, you're like building the product, you're like trying to run the team, you're trying to hire people, you're trying to get the finances right. And then somebody goes, yeah, and now you want to pitch an investor. Where's the data room? And I still remember even hearing that for the first time, thinking that it was like a place where there were people with white coats underground, like putting things in files and like measuring things. But, as you say, like I learned to my detriment that having this information to hand, and I love what you're saying about compiling it as you go, it becomes a great place, not only, for you as a business to be capturing and using this information, but like just cataloging how the company grows. And what I've certainly learned over time is having a data room that also shows the evolution of the company also is a really powerful thing. So as you said, now at Fidelity, now you've started to build this fantastic product to really sort of help founders and teams like get great at this process, right? Baked in with best practices, lots of different prompts and teams and supports to help them do that. So tell us a little bit about what was the inspiration for Fidelity to start doing this. There's it's one of these areas. It's an interesting competitive market. So what's something different that you're doing that can help founders get there faster and have more success with the outcomes that they're aiming for?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think you look at the history of why Fidelity got into this business. Fidelity acquired a company called Shoebox about 2 years ago, cap table business out of Boston. And essentially, Fidelity's been known as a public markets business, helping a 401k stock plan, private wealth management, the brokerage side of things. If you look at now, we're going down market into the private markets, right? Helping startups, supporting that ecosystem. I think it was Snowflake was kind of like the aha moment for our team, where this team obviously scaled to IPO, and Fidelity wants to have more access to these amazing companies, these amazing founders, help them scale. So if you kind of look at the business model, it's a bit of the inverse of the, let's say, traditional cap table incumbents. We want to help companies get their base, get their footing, get the support that Fidelity is well known for, and then personally, I love making venture capital introductions, obviously double opt-in, but being a supporter of that ecosystem, partnering with the venture capitalists, supporting their portfolio companies, and then generally getting in there with these great founders to help them scale to the potential IPO, or wherever they do go. If they don't IPO, they want to be in the private markets and just be a unicorn in that capacity. That's great too. There's a lot of different products that Fidelity can provide, and we're leaning into this heavy, so it's really exciting to see the amazing innovation that's happening. Another thing that Fidelity's known for. So if you just kind of look at it, it's us expanding into this early stage market and partnering with the best innovators, founders, investors, LPs, everybody in this ecosystem. It's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Right. And we're starting to get some questions now coming in via LinkedIn here. So Sachel has a question for you to say, what are some of the features of your platform that make it easy to use, or even allow some access to folks? So what are some of the unique things you've learned on your platform that make it different?
So I think what's helpful to understand is having been at the helm of our customer success team for going on 8 years now.
We've seen a lot.
We've seen a lot of growth, a lot of companies, growing. We've been really fortunate to have multiple companies go from incorporation to exit or IPO on our platform, which has provided amazing learning opportunities for us and our team. The difference that we've always kind of baked into our platform was we always knew that a cap table was not useful unless you could back up every single entry on there with proper documentation and reporting, and kind of prove out that, if Jane has an option grant for 10,000 shares, she actually does have that. It was properly authorized, etc. Whereas I think our competitors have taken kind of an Excel in the cloud approach to cap table management, right? It's less holistic. It's more designed for just a repository of that information, as opposed to
Absolutely. Yeah,
using that for the purpose of making fundraising and an eventual exit easier. So we've tried to tie things together in a way that makes them easier to understand and navigate, and makes it easier to be ready for diligence, right? As Charlie mentioned, all of the documents that you're creating through the platform or uploading to the platform are going into your data room. You're building along the way. We're reporting on those items, so you have visibility into what's in there. It's not just like a Google Drive or a Dropbox where you've just got a whole bunch of documents that might be nicely organized, but you have no idea what's in them. And really nice permissioning and easy ways to bring investors in as you get to that stage where they say, okay, cool, we think you guys really have potential, but we need to see what's behind the scenes. So let us and our lawyers get in there and start combing through documents. And you as a founder want to be able to see, what are they doing? What have they looked at? And you want to be able to automatically update them on other things that you've uploaded or shared, so that there's this constant reporting going on.
Yeah, love it. So Rob had his question. He's probably already had it answered very, very thoroughly indeed. Like even just listening to you explain this idea that, so many of the other platforms I've used literally are, it's like a data dump. I wouldn't even call it a data room, right? It's just spreadsheets, stuff on the back of napkins, things that somebody wrote down. Even that you're going to the level of the resiliency to make sure that if people are listed at having shares, that they've been issued to them correctly, having lawyers look at them, like that's a whole other level, in my opinion, at least anyway, of good governance that's baked into these platforms that you don't really see anywhere else. And that's only going to help you go faster through those processes. So you've mentioned you'd have a number of companies. Is there any examples or case studies that you can share with us of companies that have been able to work with you?
So there's a handful of them on our website. Some of our favorites, people probably know Burrow. They were D2C. Now I know for me in Boston, there's a store on Newbury Street. They make really cool, beautiful furniture. They've been with us for several years. They came over from Carta. And one of the things that they talk about in that case study is just the ease of picking up that data from another system and bringing it into our system. And we've had a great time for several years working with their CFO, Kelly. And we have really tried to make it easy when people are saying either, this platform doesn't quite do what I need it to do anymore, or we're just not getting the kind of service that we need. as we're growing and scaling, where, you know, this is one of the places that Fidelity is just completely different, right? Nobody else can say, hey, as you grow, we can also be your 401k provider. Or, hey, as your founders have tough decisions to make about their own personal wealth when they're approaching an exit, we have a team for that. And, you know, we have people like Charlie out in ecosystems across the country who are, you know, providing guidance and support that has, you know, is related to what's in their account and things like that, but takes a much broader approach to actually supporting these companies as they grow.
Yeah, no, it is truly interesting just to hear how you can support that company and the team really through that whole growth. I also have a Burrow couch, so now you're already winning me over even more with
They
this.
really are beautiful. I'm not gonna lie.
I love it. I love it. We've got a
Hey,
big,
Barry,
big
and
L-shaped couch.
it's worth noting. I like to always refer to Toast, has been on the system, and they've grown on the platform. But this whole platform was basically built for the due diligence process. A couple founders scaled, sold companies, and then they've gone through that process and said, my data room is not clean. I'm paying attorneys way too much money, either issuing stock incentives or safes or fundraising docs, right? And this is seamlessly built to save you time, money on your attorney.
Oh, and we've lost him with his light feed, unfortunately. But yeah, that's all right. It's the fact that you still have a boat in the background is always going to win us over, Charlie. So yeah, there's no problems there. Now, like
it's secure. It's secure.
Oh, you're back again. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is fascinating to hear you sort of explain, and I think it's something founders probably don't anticipate much, is the journey that they're going to go on from a financial perspective in a startup, right? A lot of people, when they're sitting there, sure, they might be dreaming of great financial outcomes, but the path between when they're there with their prototype and then all the orchestration that's required in capturing the information of a business in a very auditable, visible, transparent way that grows as the company grows. And then, as they achieve success, to have that opportunity to actually look at financial support for them, both in terms of planning or orchestration for the business and their employees. Again, it sounds pretty compelling stuff. So for folks who have tuned in today, looks like we got about 70 people here online on LinkedIn at the moment, and more on YouTube, and I'm sure people are going to watch the show afterwards too as well. What's the best way for them to continue to learn and get in touch and experience the product that you've built?
Go on the website, fidelityprivateshares.com. I think it is pretty self-explanatory. You could set up a demo. You could join our community, which is the VC startup community. All the wonderful things that we got going on, and we're happy to set up a demo. And I think the unique thing that maybe Lynn's not bringing up is just this CS team that's led by Lynn, a former VC attorney, is really unique and hands-on, and that's that white glove approach. So we're going to do everything we can to bring you on and find strategic ways to either get you connected within the Fidelity ecosystem, internally, externally, every partner that we've collaborated with in the venture capital community. So it's really a one-on-one approach that we're going to find ways to support you and help you grow.
Yeah, thank you. I really love the fact that we've, over the years, built just a ton of educational resources as well, particularly around diligence preparation and what that looks like and how it goes. Because a lot of people, like to your point, Barry, get into it for the first time and they go, oh my God, what is this? This is terrible, right? And it sort of scars you, and you never, make the same mistakes that you made in the first place again. But that doesn't have to happen. We've got a great diligence checklist that mimics a venture capital diligence request list. And like I said, they're all the same. They're just slightly differently organized. Lots of blog posts about the process and who's involved and what they care about. So that, even when founders are working with their lawyers on drafting deal documents or negotiating terms or things like that, they feel like they're savvier consumers of those legal services, savvier participants in that process, so that even if it is their first time raising institutional capital, they feel a little bit less, like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, no, and I can tell you that it's invaluable to have that little bit of knowledge just to make you dangerous enough, especially in
Yes.
negotiations with institutional investors. Listen, it's been super to have you both on the show. Thank you very much for sharing, a lot of these insights about how people can get started, and then also this wealth of information that people can go and check it out. Fidelity Private Shares, it's a great website. It's a great product. I'm sure I'm going to dig in and see. Maybe even we start using it in Nobody's Studios. I'm sure we can find a good way to work together. Thank you so much for sharing today. And for everybody, go check out the site, Fidelity Private Shares. It's been great to have Lynn and Charlie here. Thank you very much for sharing lots of your knowledge with us. I'm really grateful.
Thanks, Barry. I'll leave off with this.
Thank
Just
you.
appreciate you. This was awesome. Your VCs can only move as fast as your data room is thoroughly organized and clean. So as you have those conversations, it's nice to have a nice professional, secure, trusted organization like Fidelity Private Shares. So definitely would love to have you on board and find ways to support you and connect with me on LinkedIn. We got a lot of things going on here in New York City, East Coast, Boston, San Francisco. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.